Have you ever stumbled upon an obstacle and thought it was there merely to frustrate you, rather than to teach you? According to the Buddha's gentle wisdom, every challenge we encounter offers a hidden lesson that can guide us toward greater insight and strength. Today, I want to share the story of a single stone placed in the middle of a road and the revealing lesson that unfolded when a king decided to watch how people responded to it. This seemingly inconvenient object became a powerful reminder that not everything which blocks our path is meant to stop us. Sometimes it is placed there to help us grow. In our modern world, it is easy to fall into complaint or blame when something impedes our progress. We might label unexpected events or setbacks as mere annoyances without pausing to notice the subtle call they offer to become more mindful, more resourceful, or simply more compassionate. The Buddha teaches us that the deepest lessons often disguise themselves in ordinary circumstances. A stone in the road, a cancelled plan, or a difficult conversation. If we learn to greet these moments with curiosity rather than irritation, we may discover that life is nudging us to awaken qualities within ourselves we never knew existed. The king's experience in this story reminds us that by shifting our perspective, we can transform an apparent burden into an invitation for growth. When we choose to act with presence and awareness, a hidden reward, sometimes literal, other times spiritual, awaits on the other side. It is my hope that by revisiting this simple account of a stone and a king, you will begin to recognize the treasures embedded in your own life's obstacles. May this message inspire you to see life's stumbling blocks as gateways to wisdom, and may it awaken in you the resolve to walk every road with compassion, courage, and an open heart. Picture a time in your life when a sudden obstacle appeared in your path, stirring frustration or disappointment. In a well-known story, a wise king decided to place a large stone in the middle of a busy road. He then hid himself nearby, carefully observing how travelers reacted to this seemingly pointless impediment. Many passed by, complaining about the inconvenience. Others cursed their misfortune, certain that anyone else, should remove the stone. But no one paused to do it. Finally, a peasant with a heavy load stopped. Though visibly weary, he chose to set aside his burden, push and roll the stone from the road, and clear the path. To his surprise, hidden beneath that stone lay a purse filled with gold coins, placed by the king to reward someone willing to address the obstacle. From a Buddhist perspective, this story highlights an essential truth. Every challenge that appears in your life carries within it a spark of potential and growth. No matter how inconvenient it may seem at first glance, rather than allowing difficulties to breed anger or complacency. The Buddha encourages us to greet each with mindful awareness and an open heart. After all, much like the stone, many obstacles only seem daunting because we hesitate or assume that addressing them is not our responsibility. Yet, it is precisely by engaging these challenges that we discover hidden strengths, insights, or even unexpected blessings. Consider for a moment how often we spend our energy complaining about life's rough patches. In that moment of focusing on frustration, we risk overlooking the lessons or opportunities disguised in hardship. When we drop our burdens of resentment, we, like the determined peasant, step forward and transform adversity into personal evolution. The Buddha's gentle reminder is that every situation, be it a conflict, a setback, or a disappointment, can become the catalyst for inner development if we approach it with intention and perseverance. This is not to suggest that every obstacle is easy or that the solution will appear without effort. Rather, it emphasizes that the power to learn, adapt, and flourish resides in our decision to confront adversity rather than ignore it. Each time you remove a stone that impedes your journey, you strengthen your resolve and nurture the qualities needed to navigate life's complexities. Recall the king's reward in this tale. The most valuable treasure often waits beyond the discomfort of removing whatever blocks your progress. By acting instead of complaining, you cultivate a mind that sees opportunity where others see inconvenience. And in so doing, you embody the spirit of mindfulness, compassion, and courage that the Buddha taught so many centuries ago. Let us pause for a moment and consider the profound wisdom hidden in the simple story of a road, a stone, and a king's quiet observation. At first glance, a large rock blocking the way seems little more than an inconvenience, perhaps even a sign of carelessness. Yet, under the gentle guidance of the Buddhist teachings, we discover that this challenging obstacle can serve as a mirror reflecting our attitudes, our readiness to act, and ultimately, our capacity for growth. When we choose to confront rather than complain, to observe rather than pass judgment, we often find treasures, be they literal rewards or invaluable insights, waiting just beneath the surface. In today's fast-paced, comfort-driven world, it is tempting to believe that every inconvenience is a personal affront. We might view each delay, each setback, or each unpredicted turn as a reason for frustration or blame. When we follow the Buddha's perspective, though, we realize that these hindrances can actually be invitations to awaken our compassion, our problem-solving spirit, or our inner determination. They serve as reminders that we possess the capacity to respond consciously to life's trials, rather than allowing annoyance or helplessness to take control. Imagine how often you see a stumbling block and think, "That is not my problem." Yet, it is precisely by shifting from passivity to purposeful action, by moving the stone, so to speak, that we discover the hidden gold within ourselves. One key Buddhist principle, the idea of mindful awareness, teaches that we must be present in each moment to discern the deeper currents beneath the surface. If a stone blocks our path, it is not just an external event but also an internal experience shaped by our reactions. Do we complain and wait for someone else to fix the issue? Do we step around it and remain indifferent? Or do we lean in, use our strengths, and remove the barrier? By reflecting on these choices, we realize that our response matters as much, if not more, than the original obstacle. Taking mindful action can reveal aspects of our character that we might never access otherwise, such as resilience, empathy, or innovative thinking. Consider also how the story highlights the king's role. He knew that leaving a stone in the road would test not only the travelers' patience, but also their willingness to help themselves and others. In many ways, this parallels the Buddhist teaching that life itself, through karma and circumstance, presents each of us with tests designed to help us awaken. By refusing to be a passive bystander, we embrace the idea that adversity is a teacher. The stone is not there to inflict suffering. Rather, it exists to prompt us to recognize the power of mindful response. In the realm of Buddhist thought, such an event is never random, but is part of an ongoing invitation to cultivate virtue and wisdom. When reflecting on this story, we might ask ourselves how often we have encountered metaphorical stones: a difficult coworker, a missed opportunity, an unexpected health concern, and allowed them to stoke impatience or despair. Buddha's approach invites us to shift the lens, to see these moments as openings for spiritual growth. Like the travelers who noticed the stone but did nothing, we sometimes stay locked in complaint or blame, failing to see the hidden gift, the potential transformation right before us. By stepping forward and removing our own obstacles, we expand not only our perspective but also our sense of agency, taking responsibility for the well-being of ourselves and others. In my own life, I have witnessed how choosing to treat obstacles as lessons has led to surprising breakthroughs. More than once, I have found myself facing a problem that seemed frustrating and time-consuming, only to discover later that addressing it offered a new skill, formed a deeper bond with someone, or clarified an important value in my life. Like the king, placing a purse of gold under the stone, these situations provided a reward that transcended the nuisance. With patience and a willingness to confront challenges head on. I learned that each trial can become a stepping stone to a calmer, more purposeful existence. In a broader sense, the story underscores the Buddhist teaching of compassion in action. When one traveler removes the stone, he does not simply benefit himself. He clears the path for everyone who will travel that road afterward. This highlights the interdependent nature of our lives. Through mindful engagement, we develop an empathy that draws us together. Our seemingly small acts of kindness pave the way for others to walk more easily, forging connections where once there was separateness. The Buddha reminds us that this approach not only alleviates collective struggle, but also cultivates personal joy. We become active agents of our own liberation, building a brighter environment for all. So, how do we integrate this understanding into our daily routine? First, practice observing your immediate response when confronted with a hurdle. Do you default to complaint, or do you quickly pivot to constructive thinking? Second, remind yourself that, just like the stone that conceals a purse of gold, this obstacle may hold unexpected blessings if you show courage and initiative. Third, make a conscious effort to see how your actions or lack thereof influence others' experiences. By choosing to act, you contribute to a collective sense of relief and harmony. In acknowledging that obstacles can serve as portals to growth, we shift from a passive mindset to one anchored in mindfulness and compassion. Each time we remove a stone, we strengthen our inner capacity for insight and resilience. Each time we adopt a perspective of problem solving rather than complaining, we inch closer to the calm center of our being. Inspired by the Buddhist teachings, we discover that moments of frustration or inconvenience are fertile ground for virtue and wisdom. Embrace this truth wholeheartedly. When you find your path blocked, remember that by moving the stone, you may well discover a treasure whether of understanding, character, or deeper connection with the world around you waiting patiently beneath the surface. Let us now examine how these lessons apply in our lives. Going beyond the simple act of moving a stone from the road and delving into the possibilities hidden within everyday obstacles. Far too often, we see a hurdle, a missed opportunity, a difficult coworker, an unexpected delay, and assume it only exists to annoy or hinder us. Yet from a Buddhist perspective, each impediment can serve as an invitation to practice greater mindfulness, compassion, or resilience. When approached with awareness, even the smallest block in our path may become a portal through which we discover new strengths or insights. Consider a routine day filled with errands and obligations. Perhaps you face a traffic jam that threatens your schedule or an unplanned task that demands your immediate attention. You may find yourself growing anxious or frustrated, wishing the inconvenience would vanish so you can move on. According to the Buddhist teachings, frustration arises when we resist reality instead of calmly engaging with it. Rather than complaining, we could transform the moment into a mindful exercise, observing the tension in our bodies, noticing how our minds churn with restlessness, and gently choosing to shift our perspective. Just as in the story where the peasant moves the stone, the act of consciously addressing the problem can lead to unexpected rewards, be it peace of mind or deeper self-understanding. In my own experiences, I have found that the times when I leaned into challenges rather than fleeing them were the times I grew the most. Addressing conflicts directly, such as reaching out to an estranged friend or tackling a looming project, often revealed insights far beyond the initial difficulty. One example occurred when I faced a financial stumbling block, something that felt frustrating and unfair. Eventually, instead of blaming circumstances, I paused to consider practical ways to overcome the issue. By seeking advice from a mentor, brainstorming new approaches, and persisting despite my doubts, I uncovered a solution that not only solved the immediate obstacle but also sharpened my ability to handle future trials. Like the peasant's hidden purse of coins, the lesson revealed itself only when I took purposeful action. This mindset also ties into the notion of interdependence emphasized in Buddhist practice. When a single traveler moves a stone, others who walk that road afterwards benefit from a clearer path. In similar fashion, each time we address a challenge, emotional, professional, or relational, with diligence and empathy, we set an example that can ease the way for others. Our choices ripple outward, creating a web of positive influence that extends beyond ourselves. This is a core aspect of compassion, recognizing that by uplifting our own life, we inadvertently uplift the lives of those around us. Yet, it is essential to remember that facing obstacles does not mean blindly throwing ourselves into overwhelming situations. The Buddhist perspective encourages wise effort, urging us to remain mindful of our limits while still choosing constructive engagement. If a burden is too heavy for one person to move alone, requesting help or collaborating with others can be a testament to humility and wisdom, not defeat. Working together for a common good not only removes the figurative stone, but also strengthens bonds of community and shared purpose. A helpful practice to adopt involves a daily reflection on the stones we encounter, moments that triggered annoyance, fear, or confusion, setting aside time each evening to jot them down, along with any attempts we made to resolve or reframe them, can cultivate a habit of seeing problems as gateways to learning. The Buddha's gentle voice reminds us that we need not be perfect at this. Each small effort contributes to a broader transformation of our mindset. Over time, noticing how we overcame or learned from one obstacle instills the confidence to tackle the next without resentment. Another strategy is to cultivate appreciation for the growth that emerges in these trying moments. Similar to how the peasant discovered coins under the stone, each challenge can hold a hidden gem. Perhaps an unexpected new skill, a more empathetic heart, or a shift in perspective that leads to creativity. Practicing gratitude for these small rewards, even if they appear modest compared to our original hopes, fuels a spirit of optimism and trust in the unfolding path. From a Buddhist standpoint, acknowledging such gains nurtures a healthier relationship with both success and adversity, preventing us from becoming trapped in endless complaints or idle wishes. Finally, it can help to recall that, just like the king quietly observing from a distance, life itself often sees how we respond to its difficulties. The Buddha guides us to approach these moments with kindness and courage, believing that no barrier arises without carrying within it the seeds of potential enlightenment. By focusing on conscious engagement, acting rather than passively lamenting, we discover that obstacles are not random punishments, but teachers helping us develop resourcefulness and compassion. Thus, each stone in our path carries the possibility of an invaluable lesson, waiting to be uncovered through our perseverance, awareness, and will to serve the greater good. In this way, the story of the stone and the hidden treasure resonates across time, offering us a framework to see everyday nuisances in a profoundly different light. May we find in each impediment not a dead end, but a challenge meant to spark our deeper qualities. This perspective, rooted in the Buddha's compassion, reminds us that by transforming obstacles into lessons, we nurture a more awakened, resilient, and benevolent version of ourselves. As we close this journey of insight, let us remember the quiet power in shifting our perspective toward obstacles, and understanding that every challenge carries a hidden lesson meant to guide us toward deeper wisdom. In the story of the King's Stone, those who only complained or walked away never discovered the treasure waiting beneath. The peasant who took initiative, despite his weariness, found not only a material reward, but a realization about the nature of adversity. It can uplift us when we respond with mindfulness and resolve. This idea resonates deeply with the Buddha's gentle teaching, reminding us that genuine transformation often emerges when we face difficulties instead of fleeing from them. These reflections highlight our capacity to choose how we interpret and engage with stumbling blocks, rather than allowing disappointments to fuel anger or resignation. We can reframe each test as an opportunity for growth. It might be a conflict at work, a personal setback, or even a moment of self-doubt. If we embrace it with clear intention and compassion, we can discover strengths and insights we never knew we possessed. The Buddha gently encourages us to live not as victims of circumstance, but as active participants in our spiritual unfolding, able to transform each misfortune into an invaluable stepping stone. Reflect on a recent instance where you felt weighed down by frustration. Picture yourself revisiting that situation through a more patient lens, imagining what might shift if you approached it with a heart open to learning. From this vantage point, obstacles lose their oppressive quality. They become invitations to awaken dormant resilience and empathy. When we let go of blame and complaint, we free ourselves to seek creative solutions and cultivate a capacity for joy in the midst of turmoil. Carry these realizations with you as you return to your everyday routine. Allow them to remind you that no challenge is wasted if met with a conscious, caring spirit. Through even the smallest act of service, be it moving a literal stone or extending kindness to someone in distress, you establish a space of serenity and understanding for yourself and others. The Buddhist teaching invites us to live guided by mindful action rather than passive lament, to greet each hidden obstacle with a readiness to learn. Embrace this mindset and watch as each so-called stumbling block becomes a chance to deepen your wisdom, strengthen your spirit, and illuminate the path for everyone around you. If you have found value in these reflections and want to support this journey of mindfulness and growth, I warmly invite you to like this message and subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you help build a community of compassion, resilience, and wisdom, one where we encourage and inspire each other to see life's trials as opportunities for deeper understanding. Your presence and engagement matter. Together, we can continue sharing practical insights and uplifting stories that transform obstacles into stepping stones on the path to inner peace.